There has recently been a commotion around the world as a new 7 wonders were being voted on and selected. So, before everyone forgets the original list, this is the complete 7 wonders of the ancient world. This is a list of remarkable constructions of classical antiquity given by various authors in guidebooks or poems popular among ancient Hellenic tourists. Although the list, in its current form, did not stabilize until the Renaissance, the first such lists of 7 wonders date from the 2nd to 1st century BC. Ultimately, human hands joined with natural forces to destroy all but one of the wonders. Furthermore, it is possible that at least one of the wonders might not have existed at all. Still, all 7 continue to inspire and be celebrated as the remarkable products of the creativity and skill of Earth's early civilizations. Here is the list. Welcome to The Amazing Facts. Stay tuned. The 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. Subscribe our channel for more informative videos. Number 7, Great Pyramid of Giza. The Great Pyramid, located at Giza on the west bank of the Nile River north of Cairo in Egypt. It was built between 2700 BC and 2500 BC. The Great Pyramid is the Pyramid of Khufu, which he had built for his tomb. When it was built, the Great Pyramid was 145.75 meters high. Over the years, it lost around 10 meters off its top. It ranked as the tallest structure on Earth for more than 4,000 years, only to be surpassed in height in the 19th century AD. The Great Pyramid, which covers 13 acres and is believed to contain more than 2 million stone blocks. Amazingly, the nearly symmetrical Egyptian pyramids were built without the aid of modern tools or surveying equipment. Scientists believe that the Egyptians used log rollers and sledges to move the stones into place. The interior of the pyramids included narrow corridors and hidden chambers in an unsuccessful attempt to foil grave robbers. Although modern archaeologists have found some great treasures among the ruins, they believe most of what the pyramids once contained was looted within 250 years of their completion. Sadly, this is the only one of the 7 wonders still in existence. Number 6, Hanging Gardens of Babylon. According to ancient Greek poets, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were built near the Euphrates River in modern-day Iraq by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar around 600 BC. The gardens were said to have been planted as high as 75 feet in the air on a huge square brick terrace that was laid out in steps like a theater. The king allegedly built the towering gardens to ease his lover Amethyst's homesickness for the natural beauty of a home in Media, the northwestern part of modern-day Iran. The controversy over whether the gardens existed comes from the fact that they are nowhere mentioned in Babylonian history and that Herodotus, the father of history, makes no mention of them in his descriptions of Babylon. There are many other ancient facts, figures, and places Herodotus fails to mention, however, or has been shown to be wrong about. Diodorus, Philo, and the historian Strabo all claim the gardens existed. They were destroyed by an earthquake sometime after the 1st century CE. But most modern scholars believe that the existence of the gardens was part of an inspired and widely believed but still fictional tale. Number 5, Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. The Temple of Artemis was in the ancient city of Ephesus near the modern town of Selçuk, about 50 kilometers south of Izmir in Turkey. It took over 120 years to build and only one night to destroy. Those who saw it considered it to be the most beautiful structure on Earth. It was built around 550 BC. Apart from Olympus, the sun never looked on anything so grand. The writer Antipater of Sidon wrote of the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. The original Temple of Artemis was designed by the Cretan architect Cicero and his son Metagenes, and decorated by some of the most celebrated artists of the ancient world. The foundation of the temple was rectangular in form, similar to most temples at the time. Unlike other sanctuaries, however, the building was made of marble, with a decorated facade overlooking a spacious courtyard. The temple housed many works of art, including 4 ancient bronze statues of Amazons sculpted by the finest artists at the time. On the night of the 21st of July 356 BC, a man named Herostratus burned the temple to ground in an attempt to immortalize his name, which he did indeed. He was put to death and the government declared it illegal to utter his name. Alexander the Great was born the same night. 6 years later, the building of the new Temple of Artemis was begun and, finally, the temple was largely destroyed by Ostrogoths in AD 262. Number 4. Statue of Zeus at Olympia. The famed statue of Zeus, the king of the gods in Greek mythology, was crafted by the Athenian sculptor Phidias and completed and placed in the Temple of Zeus at Olympia. It was built in the 5th century BC. This is the statue of the god in whose honor the ancient Olympic Games were held. It was located on the land that gave its name to the Olympics. The statue of Zeus was richly decorated with gold and ivory. At 40 feet, it was so tall that its head nearly touched the top of the temple. According to legend, the sculptor Phidias asked Zeus for a sign of his approval after finishing the statue. Soon after, the temple was struck by lightning. The Zeus statue graced the temple at Olympia for more than 8 centuries before Christian priests persuaded the Roman emperor to close the temple in the 4th century AD. At that time, the statue was moved to a temple in Constantinople, where it is believed to have been destroyed in a fire in the year 462. Number 3. Mausoleum of Mausoleus at Halicarnassus. This is another burial place which was located in the city of Halicarnassus on the Aegean Sea, in southwest Turkey. It was built by Artemisia for her husband, Mausolus, the king of Carnia in Asia Minor, after his death in 353 BC. Mausolus was also Artemisia's brother, and, according to legend, she was so grief-stricken at his passing that she mixed his ashes with water and drank them in addition to ordering the mausoleum's construction. The massive mausoleum was made entirely of white marble and is thought to have been about 135 feet high. The building's complicated design, consisting of 3 rectangular layers, may have been an attempt to reconcile Greek and Egyptian architectural styles. The beauty of the mausoleum is not only in the structure itself, but in the decorations and statues that adorned the outside at different levels on the podium and the roof. The mausoleum was largely destroyed in an earthquake in the 13th century, and its remains were later used in the fortification of a castle. In 1846, pieces of one of the mausoleum's friezes were extracted from the castle and now reside, along with other relics from the Halicarnassus site, in London's British Museum. Number 2. Colossus of Rhodes. The Colossus of Rhodes was an enormous bronze sculpture statue of the sun god Helios constructed between 292 and 280 BCE. It was located at the entrance of the harbour of the Mediterranean island of Rhodes in Greece. It was designed by the sculptor Chares. The statue was, at 110 feet, the tallest of the ancient world. The statue stood for only 56 years before it was destroyed by an earthquake in 226 BCE. It was never rebuilt. Hundreds of years later, Arabs invaded Rhodes and sold the remains of the statue as scrap metal. Because of this, archaeologists do not know much about the exact location of the statue or what it looked like. Most believe that it depicted the sun god standing naked while he lifted a torch with one hand and held a spear in the other. It was once believed that the statue stood with one leg on each side of a harbor. But most scholars now agree that the statue's legs were most likely built close together to support its immense weight. Number 1. Lighthouse of Alexandria. The Lighthouse of Alexandria was located on the ancient island of Pharos, now a promontory within the city of Alexandria in Egypt. Designed by the Greek architect Sostratos and completed around 270 BC during the reign of Ptolemy II, the lighthouse helped to guide Nile River ships in and out of the city's busy harbor. Of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, only one had a practical use in addition to its architectural elegance: the Lighthouse of Alexandria. For sailors, it ensured a safe return to the great harbor. For architects, it meant even more. For many centuries it was one of the tallest man-made structures in the world. And for scientists, it was the mysterious mirror that fascinated them most. The mirror's reflection could be seen more than 50 kilometers offshore. Of the 6 vanished wonders, the Lighthouse of Alexandria was the last to disappear. The lighthouse's height have ranged from 200 to 600 feet. Most modern scholars believe it was about 380 feet tall. The lighthouse was gradually destroyed during a series of earthquakes from 956 to 1323. Some of its remains have since been discovered at the bottom of the Nile. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe our channel for latest notifications.